I needed to break that. I was over 2 hours. Certainly, I would agree with that. And, David Green can definitely gain a point of willpower, and in maintaining control of things, he has seen a bit more about the world. He can go ahead and lose his berserk derangement.
Perfect.
I doubt I had an amazing time.
No.
Yes. I'm gonna party it up like it's 1999.
Indeed, right here at the tail end of the session, Marcus has suddenly misplaced a point of blood from his blood pool, and he's down to 3 out of 10.
Damn it! Well, I'm going to fix that. That's step number one.
Yeah, and Byron definitely doesn't get a point of willpower because while someone's plans were thwarted, I don't think it was mainly his doing at all.
See here. Let me check the chat here first time. As for the DM, I recall that you created the Zamitzi under Central Park after David Green left some great blackmail. I did. Vsevolod Cerveni did not exist until that moment with all the botches. Did I think that the character would have such an impact on the rest of the campaign at the time? At the time, no. I knew he would be a role-playing opportunity, being a sixth-generation Zamitzi autarchus who had a great interest in the events above, but didn't exactly care a whole lot for intruding. He would, of course, have the enmity of the entirety of Clan Tremere for his mere existence. And his continued existence would, of course, be a major thorn, particularly as he began getting involved. I mean, I had I had little idea what I was doing with the Vampire the Masquerade role-playing tabletop system. And although I'm a very experienced role player, I've been doing this since 1998. Storytelling from the White Wolf Vampire the Masquerade system is not something I do have much experience with. This is only the 15th ever session in which I've done this. As a result, I'm pretty rough around the edges still. I'm having difficulty getting into my characters from the semblance that, they're vampires. And vampires, as White Wolf has described them, have all sorts of different crazy shit about them. Still, I've sort of managed, and I've even rolled with the punches quite a bit, trying to improvise in situations. The player characters could certainly end up using something like that combat cheat sheet, as you describe it. I think they would all be appreciative of that. Combat doesn't end up happening a whole lot for these guys, mainly because they've chosen like non-combat processes. But for them to remember the situations where they deserve like a difficulty of 4, or something might be easier for them, I think something that would be easy. I think they would appreciate the viewer participation there.
I know I would because I'm always clueless whenever combat comes up. 'Cause it's, as Grimith said, it's every 2 or 3 weeks, and by then I've just forgotten everything.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and get in contact. Jordan would be the best person, seeing as how he's the one who broadcasts the stuff live. And, I certainly think it'd be great for them. I do have, some difficulty from time to time remembering the combat rules, but that's why, like, before the sessions, I jot that. Like, I knew what the Zlacho could do and would do, and that's why I had devised, like, the macros and stuff for them. It's pretty simple for me to handle just, like, claw attacks for those guys. Whereas, the players are all about, I'm using a ranged weapon, what are the rules for this situation, what's the optimal distance, all this sorts of shenanigans. Metal Slime Hunting asks, what exactly was Ultra Kadir compared to normal Kadir? Um, Sort of like a hybrid version between Kadir Al-Asmai as well as the Frosty the Snowman thing. I didn't go into a whole lot of detail about him. Uh, a, a lot of my detail on that map was lost whenever Java decided to be Java, and I ended up deleting, some functionality, and others got rolled back due to all the Java errors that popped up that forced me to Task Manager. But that being said, the primary functionality ended up being that his arms were replaced with serrated bone blades that actually dealt aggravated damage. He was slower, but he was more powerful as a result of the modifications that have been made to him. And Theobald handled him. The creation of Kadir and turning him into that was designed as a fight specifically for Theobald, whereas the Zlacha who poured out were more for something that the player characters would be handling. And the Zlacha don't have a whole lot of health, but what they did have was quite a bit of damage. There's far tougher critters that, Sevalod is more than capable of creating. It's just that they weren't there at the time. They were indisposed. And naturally, if you're wondering about Sevalod's security, it's normally not a big deal. It's kind of what happens whenever you're a 6th generation vampire. You can leave things just laying out there in the open. It's perfectly fine.
It's not going to come to bite you in the butt.
Dantos asks, Grimith, is there anything you'd have done differently as a storyteller if you could go back and change anything more? No. Everything that has been done over the past 15 chapters has been an important learning process. I reflect on every single mistake that I've made over the course of my life, whether it being in role-playing tabletop games or outside of this hobby. And by and large, although there are things that I would have liked to have done differently, I wouldn't take it back, because failure is an important tool in the learning process. Jazz wants to know whether you're going to start telling how many times David goes in the torpor, Aaron. This is 3 now.
Yeah, this is the 3rd time. I mean, it happens rarely enough to warrant counting, I guess.
I mean, how many times have you been... Count how many times you've been in combat.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone to torpor almost every time I've been in combat.
Are there any other questions from the chat, or for you players who are here, questions or comments? How did you think the session went, as players?
I thought it went pretty well. I actually, I'm pretty freaked out by both the second exposure to the stone and how Theobald was acting afterwards.
You are? Why would Theobald have freaked you out like that?
Just something about his reaction. It was very off.
The whole, you didn't deserve this thing?
Yeah, kinda. I don't know. Might just be me.
Nah, it's probably nothing to worry about here in the world of darkness. Krypsyn, Jordan?
Well, I liked it, especially the last combat, because definitely that could have gone very badly for at least us. I guess you were rolling off screen for Theo versus Ultra Kadir, but we could have been easily wiped there, especially if the tear gas hadn't taken care of 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only thing. If it had the tear gas not worked, we'd be the ones having our corpses being cleaned up, and then we'd be Vcephalod's play toys.
All right, now, certainly that was a risk. All of you as characters and all of you as players knew going into the situation, and that's why it was an optional thing. Theobald was just presenting that as something you could do. If not, he would have found a way to try to do it anyway.
Yeah, well, I was just saying that I thought it was very well balanced, because I don't know, I mean, sure, I remember putting the torpor for the 3rd time, but both Jordan and I almost had our characters thrown in there as well.
Joseph wasn't the guy. Those Lasha were designed to, they didn't have much health on them, just doing to be, frail things, but they were there sort of as, guardians in a sense. And since I wasn't told in any aspect that the obfuscate guys were gonna like walk silently, and there's all sorts of commotion and talking anyway, they were ready and prepared. And had you all walked down the hallway further, they would have all sprung their surprise simultaneously. Preferably if the four of you were aligned right between the door sections, so that they could just surround you.
Yeah, well, that had my meta sense going when I see a long hallway with doors on either side. Definitely an Akbar moment.
Jazz wants to know what David's mask looks like.
Oh, it's kind of like a blue Oni mask, like a ceramic Eastern spirit with like big tusks and a scary face. It doesn't have any actual personal significance. It's not meant to represent anything. It's just meant to hide his identity and obscure who he really is. Ideally by making people think that it does have some significance and does tie into who he is. It's misdirection.
Let's see here. What exactly was Joseph's reasoning with the phosphorus grenades? From my understanding, as Sean explained how his character was thinking, on the off chance the coterie did encounter Sevlod Cervini, which was not an intended outcome of that, Joseph was sort of like, a ditch effort, like, throw something that's, fire related, maybe get Sevlod scared off or distracted somehow. Uh, Joseph Chung is... Oh yeah, go ahead.
The idea with Lily Pete was just essentially last ditch. If we met Sevalod, Joseph's willing to bet everyone's gonna die anyways. At the very least, he can try to buy theirs live by taking the Willie Pete, running up Sevalod, and trying to light them both on fire. And the only reason he'd do that is because he wouldn't be trying to grab Sevalod and light them both on fire. And the only reason he'd do that is because he's sure that Sevalod would just disappear if he just chucked it.
Welcome back, by the way, Sean.
Yeah, thank you. Had to go do something.
That's fine. Session's over. Went ahead and said, Joseph ended up driving Byron back to, somewhere in Astoria, and ended up taking Marcus back with him to his church, since Marcus, kind of needed to get it cleaned up. After you guys were alone, Theobel asked Marcus to leave David with him, and Theo actually woke David. They had a conversation. You folks don't know yet that David Green's not in torpor, although it might be a safe assumption David Green's gone back to his haven. Your character's been awarded 3 experience points. Your character has gained a point of status to reflect the past 15, weeks over the 2.5 in-game months of constant, struggling with success. You folks control an entire domain here in Astoria, and in addition, Joseph Chung controls a domain of his own personally in Flushing, Queens. You've done a variety of assorted effects, and your various reactions have, met, perhaps not with explicit, oh my god, you're awesome, but, at least acknowledgement. In that sense, you have also gained a personal point of resources. Rather, separate from the coterie pool. Some resources of your own to use as you see fit. Just as I explained it, like a series of strange coincidences coming in your favor, like, hey, the bank account! Awesome interest return rate! Oh, the stock options! Oh my goodness, it's awesome! Money just happens to end up coming your way, perhaps to reflect the situation. And, although I wouldn't say Theobel's a mentor, because he really can't be around New York City a whole lot, particularly once the Princeton matter is resolved, you've certainly earned his deep respect and admiration for what happened, since this was a completely optional thing, and none of your characters had to engage in it.
Very nice.
And me and Aaron are basically saying, yeah, saying Marcus and David are putting their resource dust into the Majestic to get the thing up and running sometime this year.
It might get done this year.
Yeah, I'm still not banking that.
Yep. Let's see. So that explains that. Was there an actual fight being played in the background for Sevlon the Tremere? I wasn't taking care of the roles here. I pretty much decided how that situation already went down. I wasn't expecting that the coterie or Theo Bell, would interfere with that at all. They would engage in their own separate fight and retrieving the artifact, which was conveniently located, near the front of the mansion. I already know how that went. Could the coterie have influenced or affected that in some fashion over the course of the session, though? Sure. Could have started with the information that was given to the High Regent Icelink Sturbridge. It could have started if they'd chosen to interfere with affairs on their own without, say, there are all sorts of options that are available in this giant sandbox. Dragon's Breath rounds do not exist, so I don't have to worry about that situation.
They're a thing that does their thing that's being tested right now in the military, and good luck. They're a prototype of a prototype. Good luck getting a hold of them.
And you know how prototypes work. They're bad.
But I mean, the whole sort of situation, someone shooting them, I think the game normally has it like, say, like the magics type stuff, like fire you control is alright. And in this instance, the fire that you control for, like, shooting the Dragon's Breath rounds, I'd say theoretically you'd be controlling that and that'd be okay, but if you set something else on fire, then you'd have a problem.
And isn't that the whole point?
That's just a novice storyteller, taking a shot in the dark on that one.
I don't know about the 20th anniversary, but I remember the New World of Darkness. Lighting a cigarette could send you into frenzy.
Yeah, I think it's like a difficulty of 4 or something, but it could certainly happen. And thinking about like the frenzy stuff, I could have had you all make like, say, self-control rolls over the process of like getting attacked and nearly killed or even thrown down with Zacha, but I figured that's just not a situation where we need to have more dice rolls. Like, if you want to enter a torpor, you can totally tell me. It can happen. You want to have your wound penalties ignored. Certainly, your character can somehow find the capacity to lose his shit in a life-threatening situation. But I see this as a situation where we're already rolling enough dice. I don't want to add more rolls to it.
I think that during the Frosty fight, Marcus actually intentionally went into a frenzy.
He certainly did, and there was a consequence for that. Any final questions? Oh, there we go. Since you're back, how'd you feel about the session?
We survived. That automatically means it's a success. We down there and survived. As for Joseph, he's still visibly probably okay, but inside shitting his pants.
Why is he shitting his pants?
Down there. That's enough that he's, for the next long while, he's gonna be a little bit freaked out.
Hey, you survived.
Yeah, but it's also did we survive? And if we did, was that a trap? Was that intentional? What's his plans? Etc. Etc.
Like,
always second guessing.
Like Sevlon may have been watching you all this entire time, left the item there, and like, if they take it, that's perfectly fine. It's like the Xanatos Gambit, where he wins no matter what you do.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, because having it there and just being able to take it makes me think that Maybe that was intentional and it was a fight that was difficult enough that we thought there was going to be some guards, but weak enough that we would succeed. Then again, he may just not value the artifact. I don't know.
Right. I mean, I did take a look at the chat there at a few points over the course of things. I definitely did notice, like, the whole, oh my god, it's hovering right there. Oh, this is a trap. This is where Theobel goes down.
I'm wondering if something happened to Theobel while we were occupied with our own fight.
Oh yeah, when Joseph meets Aaron, don't expect him not to point out the whole you were unconscious down there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of swirling darkness. Some of it perhaps inspired by a discipline. It's hard to tell. I mean, you can certainly assume that Sevalod is a master of thaumaturgy himself, and as a result, he's likely learned and mastered a lot of esoteric rituals to perhaps keep his haven safe, or perhaps just to amuse himself. When you've been alive for maybe like 1,500 years, you gotta find something to do, right? So we had, I think as people were calling it, Ultra Kadir or Mecha Kadir.
Yeah, Mecha Kadir was mine, but they're saying, oh, it's not mechanical. I was like, eh.
Biomechanical?
Who knows what flesh crafting is? Maybe Byron will one day.
We can only hope not.
Hey, but Aaron, you should come with Marcus and try to learn thaumaturgy. That way you'll know vicissitude and thaumaturgy.
I mean, if you folks legitimately want to try asking High Regent Iceling Sturbridge if you can learn thaumaturgy, I would like to roleplay this guy.
I'm not going to ask him. I'm just saying out of character. That would be awesome.
In character, that would be awesome.
It would be awesome, but more than
Byron
ask.
Wonder if Byron could trade. If this is a dude for thaumaturgy.
Don't.
Offering a Tremere the opportunity to learn.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that, but that would be hilarious.
Remember how I said that unconvinced penalty was removed?
Oh yeah. It would be. Yeah. He'd have to move to South America. Yeah.
One sentence and you can buy yourself a wall.
I mean, you might even be in a situation where first Byron would have to survive getting to South America.
Oh yeah. I can just see the look on her faces. You know how? How did you come by this knowledge?
I have a friend, a friend. I hang out with the Thin Bloods.
Yes, calling him a friend would make it all better.
I had a friend who was, when he was still around.
I had a MacGuffin. So, basically, I'm getting the sense that, how your characters feel is, thank God I survived. And David's like, fuck, did something happen to Theo Bell?
Did something happen to me? Did something happen to... Am I still down there?
Yeah, I mean, Byron, no shits are given from him if Theo Bell is okay or not. He just assumes he is. And a huge load is off his mind, actually, now that Kadir is hopefully in final death, because what's been going through Byron's head this entire time is, okay, if we save Kadir and his mind is his own, he's going to remember what Byron said, which is, yeah, it couldn't happen to a nicer guy when he was getting mind fucked by Sevalod. And he's like, oh, man, I'm going to have to explain that one to the guy that already hates me.
Yeah, Joseph's probably actually a little less relieved and a lot more paranoid than anything else at the moment.
Did I actually survive being down there? Has my mind been fucked and I'm living in some sort of dream world by Sevalod toys with me right now?
That's actually
That's actually what is going through David's head.
Next session,
that's
it's revealed that the moment all of you walked down there for the first time, you were made into the playthings of Sevalod. Everything else didn't exist.
No, first session, when we went into that place, we got trapped in and died there, and this is all just a dying dream.
The fog had suffocated you all.
So what are we gonna do next, guys?
That is a fair discussion you folks need to have, because I don't know when the next session's going to begin. It's all in your hands.
For my part, Byron's probably going to want a week or so to get his new haven set up. So, and maybe Marcus will as well.
Marcus is planning on just living at the Majestic, getting like everything set up there.
So we're probably not past a whole week because you're probably going to be haunted before that.
Well, I'm already having bad dreams. I'm already losing blood for random events.
It's true. Marcus did mention his bad dreams aloud. What did David think about that?
Yeah, now David's even more worried about, the dreams that he's been having and all that sort of shit.
Yeah, so
he's honestly at the moment not sure whether or not what Theobald did this past night, bringing him out of torpor, is a thing that bears thinking.
Pretty much, I think Marcus might go to the Tremere to ask them if they can help him with his little problem about spending blood randomly. That's a big if, just that he might try someone else, but the Tremere owe him one, and that's something they might be able to help him with.
Perhaps so. Perhaps so. It just, I didn't make it happen until the end of the session, but the thought that it could have happened at any inconvenient moment, right?
Yes. You would use a point of blood to increase your dexterity. Well, if it had been during the fight, you're like, okay.
Hey, wake up.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, well, use point of blood to increase your dexterity. Okay.
Oh, you can't, and you can't you can't be forced to spend more than one, can you?
No, it's only one per night for something that has no bearing on anything.
Yeah.
I would have said that it would be a great for having blush up in the middle.
Only 1 point of blood. If I was Humanity 7, though, they might blush me up.
Yeah. So Chaotic Idealism asks, did David worry that the demon might have had some effect on him?
Up.
I think David's worried about that and other things, yeah.
I think that if you ask what David's worried about, it would be a very, very long list. Right? I mean, that makes sense, right?
Yeah. Alright, folks. Go ahead and scatter on out of here. We're fucking done.